Hello again, my name's David.
And I'm Jennifer.
And we are still free to learn childminding, and we're continuing our series about Peter Gray's characteristics of play. We're on to characteristic number 2, and our video last week was characteristic number 1.
The second characteristic of play is that play is motivated by means more than ends.
So, what does this mean to you?
To me, this is closely related to the previous video about play being self-directed, but that one, the emphasis was more on play is something that you choose to do, not that something that someone else makes you do. In this case, it's about whether you're doing the activity because you want to do the activity versus you're doing the activity to achieve some external goal. An example that he gives in the text here is about some children that are building a sand castle, and imagine if an adult walked past and was like, "Oh, you stop, don't worry about it, I'll build that sand castle for you." That most kids would probably not be into that because they're not doing it in order for there to be a sand castle, they're doing it to enjoy the process of building the sandcastle together.
Yeah. Plays. You do it for its own sake because it's something that comes from within you. There's adults, we can have play amnesia because we have so few opportunities for it as adults. But it really is a distinct thing that humans and all mammals do. And it's so necessary for young children's just overall development. I'm going to probably talk about this we are going to talk about this in a lot of videos, but there's just this whole thing of the school system kind of looms over all of early years. Like, because in adult minds, we think real learning is what happens in schools. There's just a lot of pressure to think, well, my kid is going to grow up, so whatever they're doing as a young kid, how can we make that into something that gets them ready for school? Because that's what real learning is. But young children's, they have a different job. Like, they're hardwired to get into everything. And we might not always understand why they play a certain way they do, why they enjoy doing just whatever. Like, a lot of times it seems like, what's the point of that? But there's I forgot his name, a researcher, Dr. Leuven. He has the wellbeing and engagement scales. And it's just a good way of looking at if a young child has high levels of well-being and engaged, you can kind of stop stressing out about whatever the activity is, because you can be very confident that something worthwhile is going on. And not that we always have to justify everything in terms of school readiness, but I think that does ease like a parent anxiety or educator anxiety.
Thinking about this aspect of play, it makes me think about like the role of an early years practitioner.
Well, when we started this, I was just keen to make a space where we try our best to if kids are engaged in something, like leave them to it. And there's no hard or fast binary rules about this. Like, we try to not interrupt kids in their play or inject ourselves even if we're having fun. Like, it's fine to do, but trying to, from a good chunk of the day, prioritize. If they're doing something, just let them to it. They'll invite us in if they want us in, or if this issue arises, they'll come get us if they need us. And this might sound like benign neglect, but and maybe some ways it is benign neglect, because there are ways to still fill up children's emotional cups and make sure you have a good relationship with them and still check in and be attuned in all sorts of moments throughout the day. And again, I'm saying this like we're not saying never interrupt a child at play, like nothing. There's nothing's that black and white or that binary, but just making a space for children to continue to follow their interests and figuring out what they can do themselves and with others.
Yeah, I think that in some ways, like, respecting children following the play that they want to do can in many ways make our jobs easier. than they might otherwise be. If we're not trying to show someone a correct way to use a toy and just let them do whatever they want with it. And if we're just letting kids follow their interests, and not intervening in their play, then that reduces the amount of tasks we have to do. And it's a busy job, so that is honestly a good thing for us too. And it can improve our mental well-being in our work.
Yep.
But in another way, there's, on the sort of deeper level of, like, to the extent that we are engaging in the play, like if they invite us to join it, or if it's appropriate, we're engaging in the play, then doing so in a way that doesn't interrupt the play means that you have to closely observe that child. You have to know them. You have to have a relationship with them, and so you have to put in all of that work.
Absolutely right. When you learn to let go of, like, how am I going to be the teacher here? How am I going to make this learning happen? How am I going to get them school ready? How am I going to prove that I'm doing a proper job with all these young children? And you just trust, and you just know you trust them to get on with things, because that's what children do. You do have that, you do have more bandwidth for yourself, and that means so you can be more attuned with the children during those other moments. You can observe them better. You can have more presence of mind to have more patience with them. It just improves the quality of the interactions overall. But I know for myself, it's been a process of years of kind of letting go of that worry over school readiness or real learning. But it's very nice to be able to mostly let go of it. Mm-hmm. It's always a process. Mm-hmm. Something else that's important to note on here is that autistic play often gets looked down as something that's not quite right, or they have an obsessive interest in X, Y, Z, and we have to teach some children how to play, autistic or other different children. And that's, I think, very damaging. Children's play a lot of times won't make immediate sense to us. And honestly, maybe some autistic kids' play makes even less immediate sense to us. But again, if their levels of well-being and engagement are high, there's something good going on there. And if you can respect that, that's your entry point into a relationship with that child, where they can feel seen, and maybe you can join in that play or add something to the environment that lets them explore whatever their passion is on a deeper level. That's a way for that child to feel seen and be like, oh, this person might get me. Play is play, and adults, we don't always have to get it. Play is about the means more than the ends. That there's some things that in life that you want to do just for the sake of doing them. Mm-hmm. And sadly, I think adults, we have less and less experience with that. But children don't have all the baggage we have and the responsibilities we have. But there's something very human and valuable that play.
Yeah. I have a question for you, David. So some things that we try to avoid here is, for example, when kids are playing, they're mark making or they're painting or playing with Play-Doh, we wouldn't draw or paint or sculpt something that's more advanced than what that child could do, because we want to keep the emphasis on them doing the activity rather than on the outcome of which might be beyond their skills at that point. Yeah. But given that, sometimes kids ask us to do things, right? Like,
for sure.
Sometimes a kid will be like, I don't like the love hearts that I'm trying to draw. They might ask one of us to draw a love heart for them instead of them drawing their one that they're not satisfied with. Or they might, not really be able to dig a hole with the spade the way that they would like to. So they ask us to do it for them. So David, in those cases, how do you respond?
Well, I can't say it enough. There's no binary commandments, I think, for early years educators. And But yeah, we try to avoid it, but there's plenty of times, probably every week, where I do something for a kid. But I try to, depending on the kid's age and personality and what I know about them, try to navigate it in a way like, I draw a love heart like this, and I explain what I do, and like, it's taken me lots of practice. I've had a lot more time to practice this sort of stuff, and in general, just talk about that things getting better at anything takes practice, and trying to move in that direction. But like I'm not gonna act like I don't do things for kids at times, because I don't know, just the different children, different contexts, different adult personalities, children personalities. It all has an impact on what one would want to do or should do. So one theme that we're going to have a lot with a lot of this content is let go of shoulds and proving to adults who might not even be paying attention, like how to do a good job when you're educating, caring for young children. When you understand early childhood development, you can let go of a lot, and you can let go of like the need to know what's going on with a child's play. Like we don't always have to know, and that's okay. And but when children are feeling safe enough to play, when the relationships with us are in place, that's where all the worthwhile stuff in early years education, it all starts from there. So we don't always have to be the boss or the tour guide of it all. Lisa Murphy, who's a great early childhood person in the US, she says our job is more of being like hosting a great party. Like you're kind of like, you provide the space, you provide the activities, and you let people mingle, and you just make sure things run all right.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. Lisa Murphy in the US is very good.
Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't, then please subscribe to our channel.
Please.
We're going to continue to produce at least one video a month, hopefully more, on these topics.
Yeah, thank you very much.
See you next time.